Welcome, Isabel. We are talking about, a lot of you guys are agency owners or you're planning to be an agency owner. And so after yesterday's meeting, I kind of floated some topics with the premium squad. And welcome to Talia. We floated some topics yesterday, and I decided that we're going to do a series. We're probably going to do 8 or 9 of these specific that are just meant for new agency owners, kind of getting through those growing pains. So everything from determining your niche, getting your first client, trying to figure out what to charge, figuring out like your pricing model, what services you're going to offer to whom, that kind of thing. And again, this group isn't specific to agency owners, but I'd say 70% of you are either planning to become a consultant, or you're helping out some other businesses, or you're planning to go full-born agency. So I figured let's put 10 or 12 tent poles in place for you guys. We'll record them, and then everyone can benefit them from. So, and part of this series, I had a lot of fun doing this. This is like I'm calling this like a quick and dirty webinar series. We came up with the topic yesterday. I spent 3 hours this morning doing research, using my own experience, some of you guys know I've sold one of these before, and we grew it to 2.1 annual recurring revenue, 2.1 million, and I sold it last January. So I have experience. We did some more research. I'm going to do a presentation. We're going to run through this. There's going to be a tool that we can all use to help narrow down our niches on the 7 criteria. I'll give you guys all access to the tool, and away we go. So if there's no questions to get started, everyone's got working headphones and microphones, we'll get started. There's all you lovely people. Let's get into it. All right. So 7 criteria for choosing the perfect niche for your AI agency. I will start by saying this. There is not one niche for all of you. It's not like you use these tools and next thing I know, I got 680 people that are all choosing the same niche. That's not what this is about. Some of this is going to be individual to you. It's going to be based on your expertise, your experience, and ultimately your opinion of what you think is going to work and what you're comfortable pitching and doing. But we are going to use some criteria to help you at least narrow down your list in your mind, or reevaluate what you're already doing and go, can we niche down further? Can I be doing something different that's less frustrating or that's more profitable? So let's get into it. So why niches matter? Like honestly, just like what we spoke about. Being a generalist, is being broad is being broke, right? And everyone's heard the riches are in the niches. Riches are in the niches, however you want to pronounce it. This is exceptionally true for these types of business models because it just goes to show that if you can dominate a niche, and I would argue that most people that I speak with, their niche isn't niche enough. They need to go a little bit further by adding some qualifiers to the end of that sentence. So for instance, I'm going to give a bad example of like everyone goes after dentists. So I can use that example because we can put it aside. But just going after a general practice dentist and being like, I'm going to get them more appointments on their calendar. Not only is it pretty like boring and pretty like everyone's already done it, but it's not specific enough. And by the way, and we can use this as an example on our tool that we're going to use, and you can see why it is definitely not the play to do, because it's saturated, because everyone's already doing it, because they get like 5 phone calls a week. There's no specialization. You're going to see why it doesn't. And then the caveat to any of these niches that are red ocean, they're very saturated. The caveat to all of them is if you have a unique solution, unique experience, and you can go in there and dominate, and because they do need help, but they're being bombarded. So like you really have to get their attention. And I would say, unless if you have something very unique to offer, a very unique perspective, you went to dental school, you already have a list of 1,000 dentists that you've already helped out, and you got case studies for days. It's going to be uphill battle, and I don't want that for any of you. So niches matter because let's say that you have a really strong niche, and let's stay with the dentist thing. Let's say that you're doing implants and like implants, dentures, like all on 4, like really high-end dental work. That's an interesting niche. And you can actually speak to that jargon. You can name your company and all your links like dentist related so that they know that you're only focused on their industry. And you may be able, and by niching down like that, all of your case studies will point to those types of results, and they might take you more seriously than if a generalist comes around, meaning that they're like, hey, we're an AI implementation consulting company and we can do everything. We have all the services, we do all the clients, anything you have, we can handle it. As a specialized dentist, you're going, well, I get that you're probably really good, but you're doing roofers and insurance agents, you're doing all these different SMBs and all this stuff. How do I know that you actually have the expertise to handle what I need to do? So that's why niches matter. And the other key thing to niches is you can absolutely blow up one niche and do it so well, and then you can expand. You can create a separate brand that uses your same engine, your same company, your same employees, and brand it differently, run different ads. And I will talk about that too. When you're in a very specific niche, your ads resonate because you're talking directly to that one customer avatar that you know that you can help, and you're speaking their language using their jargon. It all translates to higher conversion, lower ad costs, lower everything, better social media, more targeted everything, and then more case studies. We're going to see why. The importance of niching down. These kind of overlap, but the importance of niching down is really this. You can't be a generalist because you can't afford to be a generalist. And to anyone that says like, well, why couldn't we offer this to everybody? Because you can't afford to. There's 8.5 billion people on this planet. If you're going to market to everybody, write me a check for $18.5 billion times 5, and we'll reach out to each person 5 times. And then you can have a generalist company and you can dominate the AI space. That's what it costs. Because if you want to advertise and you want to market yourself to everybody, then you're really marketing to nobody. And I know a lot of business owners in here, this is not your first rodeo. You've heard that before. If you're marketing to everybody, you're marketing to nobody. That is true in this as well. You have to remember, a lot of these companies, they're getting phone calls from other people that have already ahead of the game from you. And a lot of them are inexperienced and they've been burned. You have to keep this in mind. A lot of people that you're going to reach out to have already been burned by a couple of 20-year-old kids who were pretty slick and have a slick TikTok and a slick internet, but they don't have the experience that you guys in this group have. And they got burned. They didn't get the right results. And now they're like, man, I've been tricked once. Okay. Number 2 is you have limited experience and you're going to have no authority if you're trying to be a generalist, just like what we talked about. If you're going after every possible medical profession, every legal profession, every restaurant, you're going after every business that you can think of that's a customer facing business. Like you have no experience, you have no authority in those spaces. And that leads to when they say, okay, well, have you helped other car dealerships in the past? And you go, well, we helped one, but like we do a lot of we do a lot of optometrists and like chiropractors. And I was like, what are you talking about right now? So again, all of this leads to you're just going to have these bad conversations. You're going to pay for these leads. You're going to pay for these ads. You're going to pay for voice agents. You're going to pay for all this stuff to service them and to nurture them. Text messaging is not free. Every time I have to text 700 people in this group to come to a meeting, every text that I send costs me $10, right? So if I sent 3 texts today, that cost me $30 to get you. And you're already in the group, but I got to pay to reach out to you again as well, right? And there's other reasons to not be a generalist, but these are the main 3. You can't afford to, you don't have experience, and you're not going to have case studies when they ask for your experience in the field. So let's talk about the criteria, okay? There's 7 of them, and I have a little spreadsheet tool for you guys to use at the end, but we'll just talk through them. So the first thing I'm looking for is that the niche that I'm targeting, what I'm targeting them for, and this kind of overlaps. We haven't talked about what you're going to offer them yet, but you can see it in your mind that this niche, I can give them a productized service, a very limited menu with almost no customization. This is incredibly important. When you're starting off in your business, you're going to be tempted to make individual proposals to each and every client, and you are going to drive yourself crazy because you're going to be a little bit desperate and you're going to be like, well, I'm not going to turn down money, right? And I know some of you guys have got phone calls today and maybe you're doing proposals, and there's not anything wrong with it. Like don't stop what you're doing right this moment, but I want you to think differently about the future of your business model. Once you get your first handful of clients, making it a replicable suite of services that you have productized. What that means is they pick from it's like a menu. They pick from this, they pick from that, or they pick from that. Maybe there's packages, maybe it's individual services. They pick it and then it's done for them. The features are clear, the deliverables are clear, and that's it. Okay. And you know that they all have that same need, and they're going to be like, yeah, give me that plan right there. That's what I want. $1,500 a month, done. Okay. Or however it's structured, ad spend, however you're structuring it, that is for another webinar. Number 2, how intense is their pain? Meaning, like, when you close your eyes and picture this niche, and I should preface, one of the things in the spreadsheet is, are you niche down enough? If you say, I'm going after optometrists, is that niche down enough? Or should you niche down and go, I'm looking for optometrists that do this special procedure, and they are only in rural areas. And I don't know why you would want that, but like, for some reason, that's like your thing. Niche down by adding more conditional logic and language to the end of that industry. And it will resonate deeply, because they'll be like, oh, you only focus on people that are doing PRK surgery in like the Midwest, in like rural areas that are more than 2 hours from a hospital. Like, that's us. You're speaking to me right now. Okay. So again, how intense is the pain? How frustrated are they? Sometimes they're not frustrated at all. And I keep on going back to medical businesses, but a lot of them, they don't need leads. They get referrals from hospitals, they get referrals from general practitioners. And like, you think that, like, wouldn't they like more customers? And they're like, we can't handle more customers. So how intense is that pain? And I'm gonna preface that when we do talk about what services you can offer, a lot of you are thinking right now, I'm gonna get these people more customers, more leads, more sales, better retention, all those things. Those are the big sexy things. I will say that not all businesses want more of that. They might not be able to handle it with their infrastructure and their bandwidth and their current staffing. They may not be able to handle an influx of leads or phone calls. They may not be able to close those leads. And they may not be able to actually service those customers. So sometimes it's about operations, it's about streamlining, it's about all the non-sexy stuff that, and we're going to get to that, the invisible things that need to be done that they know about, but that most, again, I'm going to use the bad, what's the word? I'm going to use a bad characterization of a couple of 20-year-olds that don't really know business. They can't think past leads, customers, money. Right. So you can dig a little bit deeper and go, hey, what's it like with your customer service? What's it like with follow-up care? What's it like with blah, 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 blah. And you can help streamline those things for you. That just takes an employee 5 hours on a Friday to get through X amount of calls, of follow-up calls, that you can sell them a voice agent that can do those and give surveys to. So there's more stuff than just sales out there. Personal experience. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Do you have a connection to this niche? It's not mandatory, but if you do have a connection, if you do have passion, if you do have industry knowledge and connections, and you know the jargon and you can hold those conversations, it will give you a head start in the beginning. I will say this, it's not the end all be all, because most of these niches, once you get in there for a couple of weeks, couple of months, you're going to learn the ropes. You're going to learn the language. For instance, I don't know anything about solar. But when I sold Live Ninja last January, we had probably 60 different solar companies that were in our portfolio. Some of them are resellers, some of them were installers. I didn't know anything about anything, and I left knowing everything about solar in just a couple of weeks. So I had to fake it in the beginning, and then we knew everything about it. Do they spend recklessly? I was trying to figure out a good way to spin this. I thought this was kind of funny. I do this in my own business. A lot of you guys have filled out our survey when you go to get the bots, and I ask you about your expenses. I do ask about revenue, but I want to know, do you have a CRM? Are you spending money on ads? Are you spending money on salary, or is it just you? And that's helping me understand how price sensitive you are to things and what stage you're at as a business. Now, if you're not in the business world, in the B2B business world, you think if you call a roofer and you say, hey, $1,500 is what we charge, and you're all clenched up because you're like, man, that's a lot of money for me. Like, if I was starting out a business, like I don't have $1,500 to spend on like to test something out. Or a lot of them will do, $2,000 for a month for 3-month minimum contract, and they go, oh, that's a lot to me. That's our own bias. What will immediately put you at ease in your discovery process, or even when you're choosing a niche, is when you know that these businesses are literally printing money. Now, they may have high expenses, but that means that they are insensitive to price. If they have a payroll of $100,000 a month for all their employees and their front desk people and all their stuff, and they're spending another $3,000 on tools, you can be sure that your little $1,000, they're not concerned with your price. They're concerned with, are you going to deliver? And it will help you charge more. Most people that start an agency don't charge enough because they're timid, and they're putting their own bias on their own self-worth. If you go in there with a good solid number and you have good solid results to back it up, and then you actually deliver, they'll pay it. They'll be happy to pay it because you're making them 10, 50, 100x a return on their money, or you're saving them a ton of money. The other caveat is if they got a big payroll, and you can frame things like, hey, this costs the same as paying one
Brendan Keene.
Part employee. Yeah. We're in the middle of a webinar, so I'll ask you to mute yourself. I can't see who you are, but feel free to stay and enjoy. So framing things in terms of a percentage of salary. So it's like, hey, you're going to pay $2,000 a month for this service. That's the cost of 1/3 of a full-time employee. That's the cost of having Janet be here for 12 hours a week, at the same cost. And we're going to replace Janet times 10, right? So framing things in terms of salary employees that they already have or they have to replace, or training. What's it going to cost you to train one of your employees to do this for you? Oh, a lot. And then you got to pay them on top of that. Yes, I do. Okay, write us the check. We're going to do everything. You never have to hear from us. Easy. Blue ocean or red. If anyone's read Dr. Kimley's book, Blue Ocean Strategy, this is a very common business term. Blue ocean means there's no sharks there yet. There's no blood in the water. It's a wide open blue ocean. No one's, and I guess, hold on one second. I got to let somebody in here. I thought I had it wide open. Who is trying to get in? No, everyone's in. Okay. All right. A red ocean would be where this idea has already been thought of. This niche is already saturated as all heck. They're getting multiple phone calls and multiple emails a week from other quote unquote fly-by-night agencies. And they've heard the same pitch 1,000 times. And now you're calling them with something very similar, and it's a red ocean. It does not mean, okay, a red ocean means that there's obviously a need, but obviously it's being overly satisfied, right? So that's problematic. The caveat to this is if you have a very unique solution and you're going after a red ocean niche and you can stand tall on that promise, then you can go in there and you can actually make some really good money. And more than make some money, you can really help out your clients because they really need what you have to offer, and you're going to blow them away. Maybe they're going to refer you to other people. You don't know. I will say this about specifically businesses that are local and then they have fierce competition, that they're probably not going to refer you to other people in their industry because they are still competing. And then they're also going to want to know if you're working with their direct competitors, because sometimes that creates a conflict. So keep in mind, for those types of businesses, you might have to do a couple in each city and say, hey, this worked really well for us. We were doing some IVF clinics for fertility clinics. And we had to be very clear that, like, hey, we're only working with 3 IVF clinics in your entire metropolitan area. And once we get to 3, we're not working with any more, and we're making sure that they're geographically diverse. And so that put them at ease, so that we weren't going to be running ads for their competitor that's 2 miles away at the same time, because that's cannibalizing. Okay. We talked about this. Is your solution actually unique? It's going to be tough because, well, you know what? I'm not going to say it's going to be tough. The stuff that's coming out and that you're going to be able to offer now and in 6 months and in a year is going to be unique if you stay on top of it. And you're going to be able to say, hey, we can actually do this. We can do voice agents that will actually set appointments for you and will actually take incoming calls. And you could actually, your front desk person, you can now move them to part-time. And they're like, holy crap, that's amazing. And specifically to voice agents, the ability for your voice agents to call, like, let's say our group has 700 people. I can call all of you with a voice agent with 1 click at the exact same time. if I'm paying somebody to call you, or maybe I'm paying 5 people to call you guys for 2 days straight, right? For something we have coming up. It takes 2 days. It takes 2 days before I have any results, before I even know what to expect. If I'm going to have a paid webinar, which I'm not, this is just a hypothetical. Let's say I'm going to have a big paid webinar. It's going to be $1,000 webinar. And I go, I want to have it on Monday. I can go, okay, let's dial in this voice agent. We'll start calling people today, Thursday. We'll call them Friday. We'll do some texting on Saturday, and we'll fill that sucker up on Monday morning at 8 a.m. Because I can call all of you at once and qualify you and then send you an offer or whatever it is. Is your solution unique enough, or is it blah? Is it unique enough that they haven't heard it, or that you have a unique spin on it? Okay, so let's find out. We're going to take these criteria, and there are more. This is a quick and dirty webinar. I'll pause here. Does anyone have any questions about any of those 7 or anything to add before we move on to this? Nope. Okay. And I know Joseph's on the phone with a client. Hopefully he's closing deals right now. If you're still here and paying attention, I want you to click heck yeah in the chat, with the exception if you're driving a mail truck. Just want to know if you guys are still here, basically. Bobby's here, heck yeah. Let me know if you're here, and I'll continue. Isabel raised a hand. Isabel, you can interrupt. Now's the time to interrupt. Yep, you can.
Oh,
Isabel, I see
hi.
your hand raised. You can interrupt.
Well, hi. I don't see where to do the chat on the Google Meet, so I didn't know how
You hear that?
to respond to you.
It's okay.
I'm looking. Yeah, that's why. So I wanted
It's okay.
to
It's on the
join
right
here.
bottom
Thank
side.
you.
There's like a little chat bubble. I just want to make sure when I talk endlessly for like 12 minutes in a row without you guys on the screen, I get nervous that I'm going to come back and it's like internet connection. Nobody's here. So you guys are here. I'm going to move on. I'm going to make this link available to all of you at the end, but I'll just walk you through it right now. So this is just a regular spreadsheet tool, nothing too fancy about it. That's going to give you a weighted average based on these 7 criteria that we just came up with, today that we're deciding on. The way that the weighting works is in this dark row, and let me make this bigger because I'm on a big screen. This row, you can change all of these figures to how important you think that is to your specific, whatever your specific goal is in mind. So let's go through these one by one. I'm going to ask one of you guys, does anybody want to be a guinea pig? If you want to be a guinea pig and you have access to your microphone, we'll use you as an example. All right, Bobby. So what I'm gonna ask you is from 0 to 10. I want to ask you how important each one of these criteria is to you in particular, and some things may not be important to you at all, and you'd be like, that's a 0 for me. We don't really care. We're gonna blow through this no matter what. And I do this so that they're not equally weighted. So let's say effortlessly replicable, meaning that you can productize your service to this niche and you can do the same thing over and over again, which reduce your costs. How important on a scale of 0 to 10 do you want that to be weighted?
I would definitely do about an 8.
Okay, so let's go 8 on that one. And I'm gonna delete these other ones so that I'm not biasing your opinion. All right, so pain intensity, meaning that they are so frustrated with what they're experiencing right now that they really, really need a strong solution.
I would definitely go with about an 8 on that one too, because then it's just more.
Let's go 8.
Help them.
Ripe for AI means that they're at and there's tooltips on here too. So if you hover over, are the businesses the perfect blend of they're not currently optimized, but they are ready to adopt? And this has to do with their willingness and that they aren't currently maybe very tech savvy. Now, this may not be important. You may go, I don't care if they're in the dark ages or if they're brand new. My option is good enough that even if they have other solutions, this is better. Or you might say, hey, I'm going to work with warehouses that are in the dark ages, that don't have any tech, and I'm going to bring them into the 21st century. That may be your niche. So you say, this isn't very important to me. So let's say for you in particular, for one of your businesses, how important is it that they are right at that crux where like they're ready to adopt, but they haven't adopted yet?
I would definitely do a 10 on that one.
Okay, so for you now, this will not be the same for everybody. And why this is important is because depending on how you weight them, you are going to have different results. Okay. How important is it that you personally, or you and your partner, have personal experience in the niche that you choose to operate in? Oh, how important is it to you and your business partner that your niches, that you have personal experience, personal connections, understand the industry, understand the jargon at this point in time? Or is it not that important?
Oh, I'd put that at least 8.
Okay.
It's important. Yeah.
Let's put it at 8. And I want to give an example of where this wouldn't matter. If you identify a niche that you are determined to go after, you are determined to learn that industry, and you know that you can get over that learning curve in the first month, and you're going to do that, you're going to commit to that because you don't care, you don't need the connections, you're going to go and dominate anyway. It's such an opportunity. You might put this at a 4 or a 2, or go, you know what, it's a 0. I don't care. I don't want to rank my niches based on that because I don't want to bias myself. Or you might say, hey, it's really important to me that it's one of these 5 things that I have a really good hold on because I don't want to learn a new industry. This is why the weighted is important. How important is it to you that your potential clients in this industry are already seeking answers with dollars? They're already throwing money at stuff, and maybe they're not getting the results, but like and again, this has to do with like their budget, and that you have evidence that they're already spending money on it. The other side of this would be a company that really, really needs help, but they are very reluctant to spend $1, and they ultimately become a very difficult person to work with.
Well, ultimately, just because of how, the foundation that Jared and I, with our business, I put that as a 5 because, yeah, I put that as 5.
And every business is different. Now, how important is it to you that these industry that you're going after, again, and this has room for 50 niches. So you're going to put a bunch of different niches in here. You're going to rank each one individually. You could put 5, you could put 50. It doesn't matter to me. How important is it to you when choosing niche that they may or may not have already be getting, multiple calls, multiple ads run to them with similar solutions?
Well, I'm coming up to a roadblock on that one right now. So, I mean, that is kind of important. I mean, I don't want to be the 20th person that calls them that day.
Yep. Right. And it won't be 20th in a day, but it may be the 5th ad they've seen that day. And it may be the second phone call. And there may be a continuous people trying to reach them, trying to get through like their front desk or whatever to get to them. So it's possible. So give me a number.
I'd put that at 6.
Okay, put that at 6. And then unique offering. This means that your specific solution, their industry probably has not getting pitched this specific thing. So red ocean means, are they getting pitched? And then unique offering is, are they being pitched this? Cheery for the reporting.
How about vets?
Okay.
Pet.
There we go. Let's do it. Veterinarian. Oh, can I spell it? Let's see. Veterinarian. Can Google spell it? Wow. Okay. Veterinarian clinics, whatever. So I would say that, hey, we could even niche down further. So we could do emergency vets.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went through this myself with my dog. He had a very important appendage had to be amputated. I'll leave it to your imagination. Okay, just a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to say that maybe it could be niche down further, but I'm going to go. This is pretty darn good. So now this is going to take into account that you already know what service you're going to offer. So let's say we're trying to get them. Let's say specifically we're trying to get them more after hours phone calls. Right, we're going to use bots, we're going to use ads, we're going to get them more after hours phone calls, and that's kind of what they're looking for, because that's when they're open, where your typical vet isn't open. So they don't care about during the day, they want after hours where they can charge high rates. Okay, what we can offer is what they need something that they all are going to need. Like if we do this for one, can we contact 10 other emergency vets and they go, yeah, that sounds great, that's exactly what we need.
I kind of did some research already on this, and what I found is that most of them are trying to find like all natural dog food or cat food recipes. I know it sounds weird.
Let's stick
Right.
with something that we can offer in the AI automation space, but that is
Oh, I
interesting
can
to know.
create recipes like they're going out of style with AI, you know.
So,
But,
let's say that emergency vets our hypothetical is that they want after hours phone calls after 5 p.m. And they want to be, they probably want really good SEO so that they pop up on Google, because when you look for an emergency vet, where do you go? You don't go look at Facebook ads. You don't call your friends. You go right to Google and you go emergency vet near me right now. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to put in parentheses here that they need SEO. That's what they need. They need SEO and optimized for phone calls. So I'm going to say that this is very easily replicable. I think it's a 10 out of 10 because they're all going to need this. They all want the same thing. You give them a menu with this line item on it and they go, yeah, give me one of those. Give me a large number 12, right? Pain intensity. I would be making this up. I don't know how painful it is because I think that they do make pretty good money. They charge high rates. They do have high costs. To me, maybe this is a 7. I did leave us the option for a decimal point, so I'll go 7.5. Are they ripe for innovation? I would say that they are. They already are using a lot of innovation. However, they are also using a lot of legacy software. Most of businesses like this have really expensive legacy software that's not that great. Think back office, Microsoft, bad computers, bad monitors, bad, frustrating system that technically works, but like they probably all complain about it. So I'm going to say that they would love for something new that integrates. And the trouble is, can you make it integrate with what they have, or can you make it just supersede it? Do you have personal experience in this space? I have some, so I'm going to put a 5. I'll put a 6. I have some personal experience in this space. Remember, we're not doing weighting now. We're talking about our individual. Are they recklessly spending? I would say that I don't know. And if I don't know, I'm going to put it at a 5 because I don't know until I start talking to some of them. I don't know yet. And is it a blue or red ocean? I'd say it's probably in the middle. I don't know enough about it. And I haven't done any research, but this could change. I don't think that they're being targeted, and I don't think they're being targeted for that.
they're
But
not.
I don't know. And then do we have a unique offering? I think so. If we have a way where when their phone rings after 5 p.m., it goes to a voice agent who is able to do some triage, get them to the right department. And that way, I've called some of these places and like you sit on hold for like 4 or 5 minutes before you talk to anybody, and your stress levels through the roof. So I think that we have a pretty good thing there. So it's going to give us a score of 7.3. Now, what's going to happen is, let's say we take a bunch of these, and I'm just going to scramble up some of the numbers here. 8, 10, 10, 10. In fact, I'm just going to copy a bunch of 10 so we get different numbers in different places. What ends up happening is you have, get rid of this row. You have these all kind of ranked, and now you can rank them by each and every one of these, including your total score. And this total score is weighted against the weight. And it just occurred to me that this needs to be over here so that it's not part of it. Okay. Now we would sort these, and we would see that the whatever these two are, you might say, okay, everything above a 7.8 right here, and we can even let's make a little checkbox to the right. So we'll make 50 checkboxes. Checkbox, yes, or chosen. So you'd say, okay, these right here, everything above 7.5, I'm going to take seriously. These are in the running, but I'm going to put those aside for right now. Let me look at these 4. And this will help you at least narrow it down. Now, if you go, you know what, I'm only, this is all well and good, the total score thing, but you know what, I'm only interested in helping the people where we have a very unique offering. Well, then you arrange it by that. And then you say, oh, wait, look, now out of these 4, only these 3, we have a very unique offering for. So I'm going to go down. And you go, you know what, it's also really important to me that they are recklessly spending at the moment. And then you go, okay, it's still these 3. Or you go, it's really important to me that they're, Let's change one of these. It's really important to me that their pain intensity is really high. And you go, you know what? Oh wait, let's see. Z to A. There we go. I'll fix this before you guys get it. And then you go, okay, yeah, it's these two. And now you've narrowed it down even further. You go, what? These two are my two. Let's highlight them in yellow. And then you go to your partner, you go to your whoever, and you go, we're going to go after these two things simultaneously, and we're going to see which one performs better. And that's it. Your niche is done. Give yourself an hour. Use math, use science, use logic and reasoning. And instead of guessing, let's apply some mathematics to it and determine what niche is actually going to work for you. Any questions on this spreadsheet?
No.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. I'm going to drop the link. This is all available to all of you. When you click on this link, it's view only. So what you have to do is you have to, and I'll show you how to do it. Here, let me share screen again, just so that there's no confusion on how to make this work for you. You will go to File, and even in the name it says Make a Copy. You have view only. You can't edit this because then everyone will be editing it. So you go here, you make a copy for yourself, and then you name it whatever you want, and then you drop it into your own Google Drive folder. Or I think you could just come here and straight up download it as an Excel file, and then you can use it offline. That's totally fine too. When you make a copy, only you have access to it. Like nobody else can see what you're working on. I see, this is all of you. Here's my anonymous tiger, cheetah, mink, and my wolverine. This is the 4 of you that are clicked on the link already and already in here. And you can see me moving around. Hello. And then we'll delete all this stuff out of here, reformat it, and make it nice and pretty. And I'll move this thing out of the way so it doesn't get messed up with the rest of it. There we go. Let's make it pretty again. Make spreadsheets pretty again. There we go. Ooh, did I delete the formula? Oh, hang on. Can't delete the formula. There we go. OCD is kicking in. I got to do this right now, or I can't live with myself. There. All right. Yeah, Bobby, if you're still here. Yeah, you're still here. Yeah, we're recording it. I got to edit out the stuff about the funeral homes. But yeah, and I got to edit out this. Yeah, we're recording. Any idea for a follow-up topic for next week? I can give you some examples. We could talk about, well, I think what we should probably talk about is identifying what services each of you guys want to offer to said niche. And we'll probably do that. That makes the most sense in chronological order to talk about what you should actually be offering, and not what you should be offering, but like what you want to offer, and just understanding, being able to evaluate. I'll probably make a similar tool to this one where we can kind of rank criteria and evaluate what you want to offer to these niches and why, and understand how unique it is, what type of revenue you can charge per, what the pricing model might look like. Is it a flat fee and then some kind of residual or variable commission? Is it, what does that look like? And this goes out with saying, I hope all of you guys, your core offer, you're getting paid up front. I'm assuming that you're getting paid on, the first of the month, and then you're working. In the beginning, you might, you see these ads, people say like, we're going to get you X or you pay nothing. Those work in the beginning. You will get clients that will take advantage of you. You will get clients that get the results and then still claim that they didn't, and then just like burn you back. That's okay. You have to understand that going into it, because your point, the only reason you're going to be doing offers like that in the very beginning is to get case studies, data, information, testimonials, that kind of thing. You're going to put your time out there. You may get burned, but then when you have enough testimonials and kind of experience to go, okay, we can actually do this, we like working with this niche, then you go charge. I'm going to tell all of you guys to stand tall in your pricing, to not offer discounts, I believe this is, you're gonna laugh. I believe very strongly in never discounting your service. And for 15 years, we never discounted a single thing a penny. If something was 30 grand, it was 30 grand. If they said, well, we only want to pay 25, we would go back and we would say, if you close in the next 48 hours, we will add this extra thing to your proposal, but we will not go down in price by 1 penny. And we did that so that we would never get into the habit of like, hey, we always have to negotiate every single deal. And we have to change our pricing and go and edit stuff and edit proposals and keep track of it all. It's like, this is what it is. We can add in more stuff. And then the trick for that, and I think we'll cover this next week. The trick for that is you're going to add in more stuff that has a high perceived value for your client and costs you almost nothing. So for instance, when we had some of those clients that wanted discounts, we would say, hey, tell you what we're going to do. It's still going to be the same price, but we're going to throw in 3 months of PR and press releases, and we're going to get you some whatever. And they're like, okay, that sounds pretty good. Okay, the value of that's $3 grand a month. We're going to throw that in there for free. Well, they think they're getting a stellar deal. Meanwhile, we're going to spend $500. We're going to write some press releases. We're going to use software we already pay for. We're going to blast them out once a month, and we're going to hope that they get some coverage back. But that's, you know, so I'm going to ask you guys to not discount your stuff. If it's $750 a month, it's $750 a month. If it's $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, keep it at that. And the ironic part is in this group, I'm constantly discounting stuff because you guys aren't clients. And, you know, we're just constantly, you know, every single time we meet, we're doing a different weird discount code. Who here is not in premium? I think most of you guys are, but I see some new faces. Henry's not in premium. Natalia's not in premium. Yeah, I don't know why, Natalia. You're at every meeting. Isabel's in premium. Larry's new. Jake's in premium. Pod left. He's in premium. And then Bobby's in premium, her business partner premium. So if you're not in premium yet, I'm going to say stick around for a couple minutes. If you're already in premium, that's the end of the agenda today. Unless if you have questions, you can hop off. And I want to talk to just the guys that are not in yet, and just for a moment.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. See you, Jake. Later, Joe.
Bye. Thank you. Thank
Later.
you, Michael.
Later, Vinny.